How would you rank TV's most hottest vampires? Bill Compton, I would rank him a 7 out of 10. He's just a little too square and dry for me. Eric Northman, a 10 out of 10, honey. Of course. The Vampire Lestat, another perfect 10. Blade, he's not even on the spectrum. Do I have to explain why? Let's not forget about the female persuasions, the smoky hot redheads, the feisty blondes, the cocoa brown foxes. I have to admit, I am incredibly vain and love to watch beautiful vampires. That's why I was surprised by my perverse attraction to Nosferatu. Yes, I'm talking about Nosferatu, not Bill Skarsgard, the actor who plays him. I don't know, there's just something about the smelly, reanimated corpse with raspy, sexy breaths and beady eyes. It just does something for me.
You could never please me as he could.
Now, Nosferatu may not be easy on the eyes. However, his power and presence are just as seductive. In Robert Eggers' 2024 depiction of Nosferatu, he explores the darker aspects of pleasure and power. And as human beings, we are all susceptible to it. And the only way to combat evil is, well, to destroy it within ourselves.
We must know evil to be able to destroy it. We must discover it within ourselves. And when we have, we must crucify the evil within us, or there is no salvation.
I need no salvation.
So in this video, I'm going to talk about how Nosferatu is all about the power of the dark side and how we as people can resist it. So please stay tuned.
Reminds me, Sivers, you must introduce me to your madman tomorrow.
Yes, of course, but
Somnambulists afflicted with these perversions oft possess a gift, a second sight into the borderland.
I don't know, there's something about the classics. They tend to have basic elements that reverberate throughout space and time. In fact, many of the elements are used in popular blockbuster movies like Star Wars. Yes, I'm talking about Star Wars, the space opera featuring a hybrid machine-like beast whose breaths are just as raspy as Nosferatu, by the way. He seeks to take over an entire empire and he tortures people along the way. Let's not forget about Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice!
Oh no! The movie incorporates a great amount of goth elements, from the creepy house to the ghouls to the demon possessions to the seances to the desire for this ghost to marry a child bride.
We come for your daughter, Chuck.
The theme throughout all of these movies is dark versus light, good versus bad. However, the deeper meaning is spiritual. It emphasizes how our souls constantly come under attack. Vampires are, of course, fictional creatures. However, they do symbolize our darkest nature. We know that there are narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths, and we know that they bring harm to a lot of people. And if there's too many of them, they can actually destroy an entire society. In fact, that's the brilliance of Nosferatu. It shows us both the micro and macro aspects of vampirism and how it affects individuals, marriages, families, and eventually an entire community. Let me explain. Nosferatu, like Beetlejuice in Star Wars, is a movie about dualities. The duality of lust and love. Ellen and Thomas are madly in love. However, Ellen still has this weird, lusty infatuation with Nosferatu. She called out to him in her time of loneliness, and like any bad date, she just can't shake him off. Nosferatu, on the other hand, can't resist her blood, because her blood gives him life, honey. We see this lust versus love duality also play out in Beetlejuice, where the demon needs to marry a young virgin in order to come back to life.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Let's go, Barbara.
Wait.
There is also the duality of economic and social class. Thomas is an apprentice and really can't start a family with Ellen because of his pauper lifestyle. The Maitlands chose to live a simple, no-frills life, while the Deets wanted and needed to be decked out in luxuries and trends. Do you see the difference here? Also, there are dualities of monotheism versus polytheism, superstition versus science, evolution versus regression. Now, conflict arises when two opposing views or worlds collide. In movies, there is a character, mainly the main character, who can straddle both worlds. Lydia from Beetlejuice could see dead people. Ellen from Nosferatu could feel them.
This dear young creature is possessed of some spirit. Perhaps a demon.
I beg your pardon?
Both characters are dismissed as quacks and misfits. Ellen is chained to the bed and sedated. Lydia's basically laughed at.
It's a little private joke that Lydia and I share.
However, the demons in both movies are still at play.
There is a monster in the room! Papa! Papa! Don't let her feed me to the monster!
Nosferatu wants to buy a luxury estate in Wurzburg, not only to be close to his daughter Ellen, but also to escape the free-spirited Roma. They are, of course, the old-school vampire hunters who work to quell evil. The Roma, much like Professor Van Frans, understands the rules that govern the supernatural world. They realize that there is an attack on the human soul, and they fight against it with talisman, prayers, and holy temples. Meanwhile, Beetlejuice plays the role of the trickster. He lies repeatedly to the Maitlands, all while plotting to destroy the Deeps so that he can marry their daughter. Do you see the similarities? Both Nosferatu and Beetlejuice not only want to escape their worlds and leave their tarnished reputations behind, they want to start over again. They want to find someone green and innocent to use and abuse.
Ooh la la, what do we got here? The Maitlands, huh? Cute couple. Look nice and stupid, too.
When Nosferatu travels, he feasts without fear or punishment, devouring an entire ship and bringing plague rats to the town of Wurzburg. Once Beetlejuice is summoned, he is almost unstoppable, banishing the Maitlands, forging a shotgun marriage, all while torturing the Deets. In both movies, Lydia and Ellen cry out to their demon friend out of desperation. And in both movies, their demon friend rises to possess them and hurts the people that they love the most. Both women are seemingly innocent, with unmet needs and suppressed desires. Lydia wanted to have a traditional family, and Ellen was lonely and wanted to be comforted, but was shamed instead. Both women were considered to be witches or goths or priestesses who had some type of connection to the supernatural world, a world that they didn't fully understand. As a result, they created a portal for these fiends to travel through. They became the host for these vampires to feed upon, and they became the first infected, tasked to spread the virus of evil to friends and family. And Beetlejuice, the Maitland, saved the day, and Nosferatu, it was Ellen who was humanity's savior. In short, both women had to destroy the monster that they had in turn created. Now, many of us in real life summon monsters. We do it subconsciously when we're in our weakest state. We do it when we become entangled with narcissists or caught up in addictions or part of hateful cults or tribes that feed on our own insecurities. After all, these monsters don't only infect us on a micro level, but also a macro level.
Does evil come from within us or from beyond?
If a lot of us becomes infected, a tipping point happens and whole societies can be destroyed. In fact, that's what plagues symbolize, the implosion of civilized society. So what do we do to break free? Well, we have to kill the monster. That means acknowledging the darkness inside of us, ridding ourselves of the evil that it feeds upon, and standing in our truth, even if that means standing alone. So what do you guys think about Nosferatu? What do you guys think about Beetlejuice? What do you think about the similarities that I talked about in this video? Please sound off in the comments below.